What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Planetary Reviews, and I am finally here to review one of the most controversial games all over the internet at the moment, Battlefront 2. This game has been under so much just controversy with its microtransactions, with it being under investigation for gambling in Belgium. This game has been all over the press for the wrong reasons, and I do not blame them whatsoever. They put this upon themselves with the choices they made when they made this game. I hope that this game and all of everything that's happening to them, I hope that after all this, they learn from this and they go and they think a little quicker before they decide to put microtransactions like this in the game. But you know what? Let's talk about everything. Is this game worth buying? Is there anything good about this game? Let's get to it. First thing I want to talk about, the story. The story stars a woman named Aiden Versio, and she is a die-hard Special Forces Imperial Elite member of a squad called Inferno Squad, and pretty much they're the ones that they call in to do all the big things, the things that need to get done quick and quietly, hence the name Special Forces. So, is the story really that great? I admit, in the beginning, I was really into it. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, learning it from the Imperial side. And then, as the story progresses, it begins to become very predictable. Now, granted, I don't like being the evil guys. I don't like being the bad guys. I hate that. I'm a huge fan of being the rebels and being the good guys. So the fact that it's not 100% always about the Imperials and go Imperials, I didn't get bothered by it, but I can see why a lot of people are not going to enjoy that aspect of the story. Because even for me, I was sitting there like, man, this writing is extremely predictable, extremely boring, dull. The only time I was ever invested is every time Aiden was interacting with other characters. Her performance was great. I loved her as a character, but the way she just fell into her role after a certain point in the story, I'm trying to do this like no spoilers, it just felt very forced. It felt like this wouldn't happen in reality, that the way she would spoiler alert, the way she would transition to the rebellion is very dumb. It happened way too fast and it didn't happen naturally. It just felt like 1, 2, 3, bam, good guy. That's it. You didn't like do a nice long transition to it, having to earn her respect, having to earn her way into the rebellion. You do that? No, that's terrible writing. You just forced it. You have to make it all naturally happen, even if it means making the story go a little bit longer, make it a little bit more detailed. And that's another thing. I did have fun with the campaign. There are cool levels, but the story is what really keeps it down. It's very predictable, and you're going to be sitting there going, I don't really care anymore. About halfway through, you're just going to be like, oh, okay, I get to play as all kinds of cool heroes and stuff, and there you go, boom. Because then it's done in 4 hours. 4-hour campaign. Granted, it's better than Battlefront, EA's Battlefront 1's campaign, because there was no campaign in the first one. So that, I guess 4 hours is better than what they did in the first one, but still, 4 hours is way too short. And the collectibles aren't really anything worthwhile. So the campaign, in my opinion, wasn't anything special. Yeah, it's cool that it's canon, but that's about it. And the way it ended was just boom, it just ends. And they're saving it for like expansions later on, which is fine, but at least give us a nice complete package that can then be expanded upon through expansions, instead of leaving it like, oh, it ended, wait for the rest. It just felt very unsatisfying, the campaign. So in my opinion, the campaign wasn't really that great, too short. Could have been much better if they would have put a lot more effort into the writing. So let's go to the next thing. The next thing you can do is do arcade mode. Arcade mode is very boring to me. It gives you scenarios, you kill things in a certain amount of time. There you go. You can make it a little bit harder. You can be a hero and kill things in a certain amount of time. Sometimes you have to be a normal trooper and kill things in a certain amount of time. It just gets really dull. It's boring, not worth doing, especially to get all the stars. It's not worth it. The rewards you get are complete crap. So don't worry about that. The arcade, I guess, if you really want to just sit there and do, if you're getting annoyed at the multiplayer and you're bored with the campaign, sure, I guess, is going to arcade and kill some things quickly. But overall, it's a forgettable mode. You're not going to give a crap about it. Forget it. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes of this game next. The multiplayer. Now, the multiplayer, I will give them credit where credit is due. The fact that we have all the eras is fantastic. I love that. I love being able to do Clone Wars era battles. I love being able to do Imperial era battles. I love being able to do the First Order era battles. That is awesome. I love it. Very cool having all those different types of ships, different types of troopers, different types of weapons. It's very cool. It feels awesome to be in this world. I really am in Star Wars. And they did improve the way the guns work. The guns feel fantastic. I love using all the different types of guns in the game. I love using all the different types of troopers with the addition of classes is fantastic. Having like a team of like your buddies trying to work together to win an objective really does feel good. And the standout modes definitely are Galactic Assault and Starfighter Assault. Starfighter Assault is the most surprising one for me. With the way with the team that they had to improve the flight combat and everything, they really did a dramatic change. It doesn't seem like that much of a change, but when you're in it, it is fantastic. You're sitting there just having these dog fights. They have AI running around so you can feel good for a little bit. Then when you find that but when you find an actual player and you kill him, you get that high right away. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. I actually killed a person. And you feel good. You feel like you're accumulating skill. And then you have objectives that you have to do. Sometimes you have to destroy part of a giant ship. Sometimes you have to destroy like these little corvettes that are coming in. Other times you have to destroy TIE bombers that are coming in. There's always something to do in this mode. And it feels fantastic. I love it. I could not believe it because I did not like Fighter Squadron Assault or whatever it was called in the first one. I didn't like it. I was like, this isn't really my thing. But this one, I really love playing, and that comes from a guy who loves infantry combat. The fact that I like vehicle combat in this is insane. So that's awesome. Then we have Galactic Assault, which is the big game mode, the big warlike game mode where you have 20v20, big 40-player battle, and you're all going at it, and it's fun. I do like it when you have a good team and stuff like that, but what really feels like it's bogging it down is that you don't have any significant vehicles. No one's really using them. You can't use like one of the clone trooper transports, the big ones where you have like a bunch of troopers in there, and then you usually have the 2 round things, and they're shooting down at the people on the ground or other vehicles. You can't physically drive that. So you're just sitting there and you're just on rails shooting things, and it doesn't feel fun. The vehicles could have been done so much better to make you feel like you really are in a war, to see all these vehicles going crazy, having vehicles that have 2 people at a time in there, like where I could be driving the tank and then have my buddy be on the turret on it. That would be great. Why don't they embrace that? And also, the other thing I like about Galactic Assault is that it does have the scale. I will say that. When you're playing this mode, you feel like you're in a Star Wars battle. You feel like you're in an important mission that if you guys fail, that's it. End of story. War may be over. It feels good. And it really is a fun mode that I think a lot of Battlefield fans are going to like. And I wouldn't recommend playing it by yourself, because playing it by yourself does get a little tiresome because it's so big and you're just going to be getting killed and you're not going to be having any help. So if you're playing that mode, play it with friends. But let's talk about the other modes. Heroes vs. Villains. Heroes vs. Villains, if you're playing with a squad, can be fun. It can be frustrating because the lightsaber combat in this game is not too great, and the powers haven't really been worked out to work perfectly in a mode like Heroes vs. Villains. So it's really just that kind of mode that you're going to go into. I feel like playing as some of the heroes and go and have a little fun. That's really all that mode is. It's not balanced perfectly. A lot of the heroes are a little overpowered, underpowered in some places. It feels like it just feels like a giant mess, but it can be fun, I'm not gonna lie, if you're playing with friends. And you know, you just want to screw around. Don't take it seriously. That's one thing I definitely will say. Do not take Heroes vs. Villains seriously. The next mode, Strike. Strike is simply a mode where you have an objective. It's all infantry based. You got to go grab that objective, take it somewhere, and there you go. Very squad based. It's actually pretty fun, but it does lose its luster after a while. And then we have Blast, which is your standard team deathmatch, which to me is not that great. It's boring, spawns are terrible, whatever to that mode. The 2 modes that you're going to be playing the most are Galactic Assault and Starfighter Assault. But now, let's talk about the thing that really brings this game down terribly, and that is the way they implemented microtransactions into it. I'm not going to be here for an hour talking about it, but I am at least going to say that this brings down the game horrendously. absolutely horrendously, because you cannot progress in any way, shape, or form without using the loot box system, without accumulating credits. And so most of the time, every time I open these things, I'm getting garbage anyway. So I feel like I'm never making progress unless I'm like one of those people who have a ton of money to sit there and just drop $100 on microtransactions for no reason, on top of already paying for the game. So the fact that the microtransactions interfere with the core gameplay so much, it really does bring down the whole experience. Because this is where most of your time is going to be spent, in the multiplayer. Because the campaign isn't long enough to keep you busy. The arcade is boring as hell. And the custom games that they have in this game, don't even touch them because they're just dumb. They're not fun. There's not enough options to really make you go crazy. But then you go to the multiplayer, and yes, it is fun to play with a team. It is fun to play with your friends and have a good time and work together. But you're never going to feel that progression because of the fact that everything is put towards the loot boxes, which are not that nice to you in the first place. And then you need crafting items to make better cards and stuff like that. And the only way you get crafting items and credits is through playing the game. And then you have like these challenges you can get, but even those don't even seem to come at you enough to give you enough credits to be able to get more loot boxes, to get more star cards. And then on top of that, there are heroes locked behind credits that you have to save up 10 grand for some of them and 15 grand for some of them. And it just doesn't feel fun. This microtransaction section of the game just feels so money grubbing, so disgusting, that even though I do like the multiplayer in the game when it comes to just playing it with friends and having a good time, it really bogs down the game because there's not enough else in it to keep you invested in it. So at the end of the day, as much as I can say I do have fun with Battlefront 2, all this game could really get, because of the fact that the microtransactions are so strong, all it can get is a solid C from me, guys. That's all I have to say on Battlefront 2. It really sucks because I wanted this game to be great. Having all the eras in there was great. Having so much promise, having a campaign. But then they did these stupid microtransactions. It really brings it down. And as a Star Wars fan, guys, they did it better years ago with Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 made by Pandemic on the PS2 days. Why did you guys screw up in 2017 when we had the potential to make an even better game? I'm just disappointing. Very disappointing. I cannot recommend you go out there and get this. Wait for a big sale if you really want to play it, but that's as much as I can say, guys. But on that note, guys, I hope you guys are going to have an excellent Thanksgiving. So, as always, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.